Hey y'all, it's DJ. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk books. So it has been an absolute crazy month. Like, I made my last video in like the first week of March, and now March is over. And that's absolutely crazy. But why? Because I've been working. I don't know about anybody else out there who's trying to make that money, because capitalism is going to capitalize. And it's just hard. It's hard to like balance work and life and work and sleep and work and content and work. But here we are. So I guess this is kind of like a March wrap up, April TBR, kind of like video-ish check-in maybe. Maybe it's a check-in because he is tired. He is tired and he is sleepy and needs rest, needs a vacation. But here we are. This is like my March wrap up / April TBR video. Yeah. So before we get into the first video, let's talk about, y'all know what it is, them nails. Them nails. This time I went for like a gold chrome. And, I wanted to match my jewelry, give it like a all gold vibe, you know what I'm saying? I wear gold. I've tried to wear silver. Silver just doesn't work out for me. For some reason on this skin tone, silver looks very inexpensive. And that's not the route that I'm going. But yeah, these are the nails. And they use like this powder to kind of like get the chrome on there. And it's cool until it starts to chip away. It's chipping. You probably can't really see that, but it's chipping. It's coming off. But I have black under there, so it's working out. And this is one of the best sets yet. A lot of people like it. Got a lot of compliments. It was bold. Y'all know me. Bold. But yeah, gold. That's what's happening. First book on my list for my March wrap up, April TBR list is The Nickel Boys. And this book is by Colson Whitehead. Hopefully you can see it there. Really quickly, this book follows a character by the name of Elwood. And Elwood lives in Tallahassee, Florida with his grandmother. His parents kind of like left him. They like ran away on him, went to like live their lives and figure things out. Because this is a time where like a lot of people, especially black people, were down and out. And when I say down and out, I just mean like can't find a job, can't get an education, can't be safe, and just have to like operate and maneuver around like whiteness in every way, because Elwood was born in like the late 40s, 1940s, and this story is taking place in the late 50s, early 60s. So Elwood is a very smart kid. He, of course, lives in a black neighborhood, but he is very interested in like the protests that are going on. This is around the civil rights movement time, and a lot of people are like in the streets picketing, protesting, and just going in about like how we all deserve and need equality. So this is right up Elwood's alley. Elwood really looks up to people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and he even listens to some of their speeches, and he went out a few times to actually protest without his grandmother knowing. So Elwood finds a job. He's probably like 13 or 14 years old. He finds a job. He's really good in school. He like reads very well, reads a lot. He does really well in math. And it's just one of those kids that you're like, he just might make it. He just might make it. So Elwood gets placed into this really, really cool program for like kids who are gifted and for higher learning, where he can take like high school and college classes really early. And Elwood is on his way to this program, but doesn't have a car, doesn't have a ride, can't get on the bus. So Elwood decides to hitchhike. So the first car that pulls up that will actually give Elwood the time of day is this black guy who's driving in this really, really fancy car. And he's like, I'll drive you wherever you're going. And Elwood gets in the car. Unfortunately, the car is stolen. The cops pull them over. The guy goes to jail. Elwood goes to Nickel Academy. Nickel Academy turns out to be a horrific academy for students to learn but kind of like be disciplined so that they can get back on the straight and narrow. Of course, no one listened to Elwood, just saying that he had nothing to do with the car being stolen. He's on his way to this school. No one checked in with the school to make sure that he was on his way there. It was just like, found a black boy in a stolen car, you're going to Nickel Academy. And when he gets to Nickel Academy, he realizes immediately, like, all of the kids are kind of like nervous and scared of the violence and the horrific traumas that come with any type of like reprimandation in the school. If you do something wrong, there will be consequences for you, and the consequences are crazy. They have this place called the White House where they take the boys and they like beat them with this long leather belt and they like whip them. And there's also this place called Lover's Lane where a lot of the older leadership of this academy or plantation, they actually take these boys there and SA them or sexually assault them. And no one will know because like the government has their hand in the pot when it comes to this place. And like a lot of politicians, a lot of people with power have something to do with Nickel Academy. So they won't let anything crazy get out. And these kids are suffering. So of course, Elwood goes through some problems because of course he has a great big heart and he wants to jump in and be the hero sometimes. And this turns out to be very detrimental for him. He goes through a lot of trauma. Anyone who has like any issues with like child abuse or sexual abuse towards children or anything like that, this may not be the book for you because this book, it just deals with the horrific trauma that people inflict on vulnerable children, and it's terrible. Come to find out, this book is actually about a real school that existed in Florida, and recently, I think like 2013, 2011, they shut it down. And come to find out, all of these horrific things happened to these children, and it made me think like, how many other places in this country, in this world, do these like terrible places exist and no one knows about it, no one can talk about it or even rescue these children because we just don't know. And it's horrible, but I say kudos and shout outs to Colson Whitehead for even thinking to create something like this, just to bring more awareness, just to open our eyes to things that a lot of people in this country want to make seem as if it doesn't exist. But it does. Racism exists. Racism has existed for a very long time. Prejudice exists. The amplification of whiteness exists. And, you know, the whole trying to get rid of the history of America is just a bona fide signification of this really happening, because why wouldn't you want us to know the history? And of course, history repeats itself. And I think a lot of people don't want us to know what happened because they want things like that to keep happening and kind of like flourish in the future. But that's a long story. I could talk about that all day. But the ending of the Nickel Boys was tragic. But the many guys who did go to this school, not specifically this school, but the many schools of horrors in the South and maybe even in the North, still exist. And there are stories about them on YouTube, and it's just crazy. There's resilience, and there are people who really like put their lives together, and there are a lot of people who didn't even get a chance to live their lives the way that they wanted to because of Nickel Academy. Crazy, terrible, but a great book nonetheless. So the next book on my list is Harlem Shuffle. Now, Harlem Shuffle is by Colson Whitehead as well. For some reason, I decided that I was going to read two books by this author at the same time. This is just the way it is. But yeah, I'm from Harlem. And of course, when I first heard this book was coming out, any book that has Harlem in it, I'm just like, give me that. Give me that. Let me read that because I need to know. That's my hometown. This book is following a character by the name of Raymond Carney. And Raymond lives in Harlem. He's originally from Harlem. And he has a furniture store that he owns on 125th Street on the west side. Now, Raymond tries to act like he's this really cool, chill, laid back, mainstream businessman who like doesn't get involved in all of the craziness that goes on in Harlem, but he does actually get involved in the craziness that is in Harlem. So there are multiple people that actually steal things or find things or buy things at a lower rate, and they give it to Carney as a fence or for him to like wash down the items or the money and kind of like, you know, give them a profit for it. So like if somebody finds like a beautiful like emerald necklace, they may bring it to Carney. Carney will take it to the jeweler, get a price for it. He's the middleman, get some money, get the money to the person who originally gave him the jewelry. That's a lot. But that's kind of like what Carney does on the regular, but his main income is pretty much the furniture that he sells in this store. Furniture and the electronics and all that stuff. So where we start off in the book, Carney meets up with his cousin, and his cousin is like a lowlife. He does drugs, he's out there stealing, robbing, killing, all those things, and Carney tries to stay out of it. He even tries to like save his cousin from the streets. But here we are. So Carney's cousin comes to him like, hey, I might have this really cool gig. We're thinking about knocking off this hotel. And, you know, this is a hotel where a lot of famous people stay. A lot of people with power stay here. Drug dealers, pimps, you know, all those people that you kind of want to stay away from. They either live in this hotel or they stay there on the regular. And Carney is just like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to be a part of whatever y'all are doing at this hotel. Like, tell your dudes, tell the crew, I'm good. I don't want to be a part of it. Carney's cousin does the exact opposite of that. Tells the guys that Carney is in. They have a fence. They have somebody that they can count on to be a part of the team. And that's really messed up. Like, I couldn't see myself being in a situation where I couldn't trust my cousins or family members or even friends to, you know, just kind of like take what I said and flip it around, especially when it comes to something so dangerous. So that was like the first part of the book where I was like, whoa, trust issues all around. Like, you know, Carney has a wife, 2 kids, and his wife's parents are very like elite black people. Carney is even trying to get into this club that his father-in-law is in, but you know, they reject him because they feel like he doesn't come from the same cloth as them. And his father-in-law is kind of like happy about it because he hates Carney. And it's really all messed up. Like, he's really trying to get his personal life together and run a business, but his cousin got him into this foolishness. So, of course, the robbery goes wrong. Of course, everything that they planned out went totally awry. Like, none of it went right. I mean, they got the stuff that they were looking for, but now people know kind of like who they are, what they look like. It was just too many people there. They didn't think that many people would be there, but here we are. Not even a week after the robbery, people are already showing up to Carney's shop like, hey, have you seen this person? Have you heard about this? Do you know this person? Really kind of like trying to shake him up and figure out like where he stands in this whole thing because they feel like he has to know. And then people that were a part of the group from the robbery either are ending up dead or disappearing, and Carney is just like, whoa. So it's a lot going on. Right now, I haven't finished the book. I'm probably like halfway through, a little more than halfway. I think I have like 120 pages left. But yeah, Harlem Shuffle, it's actually really good. It's totally different from the Nickel Boys. But the writing is just amazing. And I feel like Colson Whitehead has this like talent to not only give you world building and describe everything that's happening and being like visually seen in the book, but also to like grab you into these different plots, you know, whatever Carney is going through, whatever his cousin is going through, whatever his wife is going through. It kind of like pulls you into each story, and it really, really works. Like, I can see this being like a 4 or 5 for me for sure. But I'm feeling it, and I think Colson Whitehead might be one of my new favorite authors. But yeah, Harlem Shuffle. Harlem Shuffle. So there was another book that I was actually reading while I was reading those 2 books. Please don't ask me why I'm reading so many books at the same time. Maybe I just felt like, damn, I'm not reading as much as I want, so I'm trying to like cram everything in. That's not such a good idea because I just don't have it. I don't have the mental capacity to kind of like enjoy 3 books at the same time and deal with the exhaustion that I've been dealing with. So yeah, here we are. But the next book that is on my list for my March wrap up, April TBR, is After Parties. And this book is by Anthony Wiesner. So I'm really messing that up. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I started reading this. This book is like an anthology. It's many stories about different characters and different people. And I believe that like most of the stories are of Southeast Asian culture. And the author, I believe, is also from the Southeast Asian area. I don't know if you all can see that, but yeah. So, yeah, I think I'm like 3 stories in, and this might just be a DNF. I don't want it to be a DNF, and I'm thinking maybe because I was just like all over the place, not really paying attention to what I was reading or enjoying it, and my mind has been scrambled. So maybe I need to just like give it a chance. Maybe I should like finish Harlem Shuffle and then like get into after parties again, or like kind of like dive into the stories with a more like clear head. But the stories aren't that bad. It's just a little boring. I don't do boring. I don't know if any of you do boring. Maybe this is something that you'd be into, but I'm only a few stories in. Like I can't even front. Like I'm like the tab is like right here. My bookmark is right here. I've gone nowhere, so I can't really say anything. But here we are. Here we are. So those are my wrap up books. Those are books that I have read or currently reading. You know, in my opinion, March is still happening until I finish those books. It's not really April yet, so yeah. But I do have some TBR books. I did finally buy some books, and I bought them from Book of the Month because Book of the Month is just so convenient for me. There are tons of books on my wish list on Amazon that I really need to like chip away at and actually start reading, even though I have these books back here that I still need to read. Many, many books that I need to read. They're back there. Okay, so the first book that I bought from Book of the Month that is on my TBR list is, I believe it's a horror. I haven't really read any horrors lately, which is really sad because I love horror. Maybe I don't anymore because I don't read it, haven't seen a good horror movie in God knows how long, but I do think that this is a horror and I may actually like it, or it's a thriller, something like that. But the first book on my TBR list for April is Kill for Me, Kill for You. I'm not sure if it's I Kill for You, but no. Okay, so it's Kill for Me, Kill for You, and this is by Steve Kavanaugh. It's a nice cover. It's got Homegirl in the corner over there looking out the window. Yeah. Okay, so this book is following, I believe it's like 3 different perspectives, but the first storyline follows 2 women who kind of like are strangers that meet up in some way, and they both have this one thing in common, which is revenge. They both want revenge on different guys, and some way, somehow, they come upon this idea to, you know, I kill for you, you kill for me, and we work this out. And that may actually work out because usually people who do, you know, a murder or commit a murder or do like kind of like put things together to have someone killed, it's usually like someone that they know, or like the footsteps kind of lead up to a group of people or some type of like 6 degrees of separation of who was involved in the killing. So if they're strangers and they just happen to come up with this, sounds like it could work. Then there's another person, a woman who is married to this guy and they live in the city, and for some reason someone like bursts into their apartment and attacks her and maybe attack him. I'm not sure. I just read the synopsis, so here we are. But yeah, there's this attack that happens and she no longer feels safe because this man broke into their house, attacked them, and got away. They don't know where he is, why he did what he did, and that's really kind of messed up. And I'm wondering how those 2 stories come together. But yeah, hopefully I will enjoy this. Kill for you, kill for me, kill for me, kill for you. But yeah, that. Okay, so the next book on my TBR list for April is Wayward. This is by Amelia Hart. That name sounds very familiar. I'm not sure if I like know an Amelia Hart or Amelia Earhart. I don't know. Here we are with Amelia Hart's Wayward. The cover is really nice. It's giving magic, and this is a magic book. And on here it says Book of the Year finalist. So that's kind of dope. I'm guessing a lot of people were really feeling this. But I love this. It's very magic. I love magic stuff. I haven't read anything like really, really magical in a few months. And I hope that this is the type of magic that it gives, like whimsical, in the garden, in the forest, and mysterious. I love stuff like that. But yeah, so apparently this book is following 3 different women in 3 different eras, And first we have 2019 where we're following Kate. And Kate is like fleeing London to go to this cottage that's far away, where her aunt left this to her in her will. She's inheriting this place and she's running there. I guess she's running away from a partner of hers. It says her partner who has been tormenting her. So she's like in an abusive relationship and she's like, I'm out of here. I got this new cottage. I'm about to see y'all later. I can't do it. It's up for the cottage, and that's where we going. So that's what's happening with Kate in 2019. In 1619, Altha is waiting trial, and I guess it's because of her being a witch. They think she's a witch. Her grandmother, her mom, they were witches. They taught her magic. And of course, in 1619, this is like the Puritan era. This is the era of all those people who just was like, you're a witch. The only way that we can deal with a witch is death. So they were just killing women just outright because they were just idiots, but magic, which is wild. And you can already tell this is like following that narrative of women in danger, can't be themselves, can't be smart, can't be different, can't be anything other than what a man deems a woman should be. And that, my dear friends, is fucked up. That's not what we're here for. We don't want that. But we love resilience and we love those stories where women actually rise above it. And whether they get revenge or whether men come to their senses because women have to like beat it into them, whatever. We love that. Technical difficulties will ruin your life. It's ruined mine just now. But we're back. You know, it happened, but here we are. So in 1942, we are following a woman by the name of Violet. Violet is trapped in her family's grand, crumbling estate, and she is in a straitjacket. And she is like isolated from society, and all because she is a woman that wants to be educated, well-rounded, intelligent. She has a bunch of brothers. She wants to be like them. They all got this grand rising, this education, all this uplifting because, of course, that's the misogynistic world that we live in, unfortunately. But she wanted to indulge in those things as well. And I guess apparently they deemed her crazy. 1942 sounds like the perfect time for people to be like, this woman wants to learn. She's crazy. Lock her up. And here we are. Just dealing with that is just kind of like ruining me. But we love to hear about it. We love to read about it. And hopefully there's enough magic in here that won't make me put it down because I'm upset about the way that women are being treated. But yeah, Wayward, let's see how that goes. Hopefully I do read this in April. It could happen. It could happen. Let's see. So the next and last book on my list for my April TBR is Upgrade. Now, Upgrade is by Blake Crouch. And I recently read my first Blake Crouch novel, and that book was absolutely crazy. Let me get the book because I don't think you all know, because that cover is fire, but this cover is actually fire as well. But yeah, Dark Matter. This book was crazy, lots of really crazy shit going on in this book. Like, not time traveling, but more so like dimension hopping. They end up in this corridor with like millions on trillions on billions of doors. And each door leads to the same world, but in a different dimension. So it's really not the same world. You know, like we could be here, but then we can also be somewhere else where this is exactly the same, but it's like overtaken by snow and ice, or it's burning up hot, or everyone has a third eye. It's all the same kind of like channels, but different dimensions. Crazy. Put this back if I can. But yeah, so Upgrade, I have not read this, of course. This is my TBR. But I'm hoping that this book is just as good as Dark Matter, because most people say that Blake Crouch can do no wrong. And I heard that this book might be even better than that book. But, you know, hearing is not believing. So I'll have to read it on my own. But apparently we are following someone by the name of Logan Ramsey. And Ramsey isn't sure of why he's feeling different, but he feels like better in some way, a little more agile, a little more smart, a little more witty, a little more like quick on his feet, and he doesn't get it. And for some reason he feels like he's had an upgrade. Now, I don't know if these people are like cyborgs or if they are like digital AI, or just like another universe of people who can have like real upgrades, like can like plug something in the back of their neck and like get an upgrade. Kind of reminds me of something that I would hear of on Black Mirror. Anyone who hasn't seen Black Mirror, I would just like really encourage you to go watch it. A lot of the last seasons aren't as good as the first like 3 seasons, but Black Mirror is really the jam. And yeah, go watch that. Speaking of things like Black Mirror, I really do want to set up another, if not channel, or another page, or another segment from this channel, where I do talk about all of the movies and shows that I watch, because if I don't have time for reading, I do have time to like watch something while I'm working, or watch something while I'm traveling, which I do, and I should make out that time to read. But here we are. We all watch things, don't we? Don't we? Don't we? Don't we? Don't we? So yeah, I do want to create another segment from this where I do have more, where I do have more information and more input on shows, movies, and maybe even some like current events that are crazy, because I got a lot to say, and I feel like I need to say them, but I have to figure out how to say them, when to say them, should I say them? I'll figure that out. But yeah, so those are all of the books that I've had on my list for April, and some of the books that I've read, and I'm currently still reading from March. This is still March. I don't care that it is not March. It is March until I finish reading those books, and that's just the way it is. So I don't want to hold y'all anymore. This has been awesome. This has been way too long. I have to stop doing one video a month. I need to just get into the fight and make sure that I'm actually making more content. Work be damned. Energy be damned. Exhausted or not, I shall show y'all this beautiful face, these awesome nails, and all of these damn books. All of these books that I plan on reading, trying to finish reading, and here we are. This is what we're doing. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for stopping by and engaging with me. You'll see me soon, and I shall see you soon as well. I hope you've enjoyed this time. Before I go, of course, you already know, leave a comment, hit the like button, leave some suggestions. Let's talk in the comments, a little banter, a little back and forth, a little something, something. Let's keep the party going until next time. Peace.